I'm gonna draw your mom.
Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this second part to a story that I touched on in my previous video. Fran Hennessy has called out undisputed champion Dina Thorsland, confirming Boxer's offer is genuine, but Ebony Bridges says she accepted an offer to fight Hennessy 3 weeks ago and is still waiting for a date. Who should Fran face next? Ideally, it would be Ebony, because she's nowhere near ready for a fighter like Dina Thorsland. And I said as much in my previous video, but according to Ebony, she already accepted the fight. In her own words, they also made me an offer 3 weeks ago, which I accepted, been waiting on a date, ha ha ha, but maybe they realize it might not be a good idea to risk losing. They were worried about losing, they wouldn't have made the offer to Dina, as she stands a better chance of beating Ebony than she does of beating Dina. Fran Hennessy sports an unblemished record of 9 wins with no losses and no draws, 2 recorded knockouts, having fought 2 times already this year, once in January, then again in May. The fight in the fall, or winter, would have been her 3rd ring appearance this year. And she's one of the few fighters at Boxer keeping an active schedule like that, where Ebony sports professional record of 10 wins with 3 losses and no draws, 4 recorded knockouts, having never been knocked out in 13 professional bouts. Last in action in April of this year, opposite the ring Ebony Cotton, while she was rebounding off the loss in January to Alexis Mons in what was her MVP debut. So the fight that she had in April with Ebony Cotton was not an MVP show, and if the fight with Fran happens, well, that's not an MVP show either. Sort of gives you the impression that Ebony Bridges is off the reservation and off MVP. When they signed her, she was still coming off the loss to Miyo Yoshida in 2023 and a long stint of inactivity. They gave her an out, a way to get back in the winner's bracket, and she lost. After 3 years of inactivity, approaching 40, if she's not 40 already, maybe they jettisoned her. When they signed her, I said it was a curious endeavor because I couldn't imagine what they were going to do with her. I didn't see the reasoning. When they signed her, I said, it's highly unlikely that Ebony wins a title anywhere in between 118 to 122. Still unlikely. So that if she loses in what was her MVP debut, they may have decided to cut their losses right then and there. It's the same with Naomi Valle. Since she lost in what was her MVP debut, she hasn't boxed on any of their shows. And neither is Ebony. She fights Francesca in the fall. That's a Boxer show. And that is the more ideal fight for an unbeaten up-and-comer, only 22 years old, still making her bones in the bantamweight division. This is the kind of fight that she needs to be in. Not with a reigning champion, but a former champion who's a bit more experienced than she is. Is Fran at least ready for Ebony? And I would say that she is. At this point, she beats Ebony. Ebony's only back in the winner's bracket because they got her the most pedestrian of pedestrian level opponents, Ebony Cotton. If not for that, she'd be coming off of 2 consecutive losses. She's a pressure fighter. Generally, to be effective as a pressure fighter, that requires more sharpness and more speed than Ebony Bridges has at this point. It's best described as a young man, or in this instance, a young woman's style. When you're a step behind, what ends up happening, you're a piñata, a heavy bag, your target practice for any young fighter with accuracy and sharpness, like Fran Hennessy. I believe that Fran would box circles around Ebony Bridges. It's strange that Ebony accepted the fight, but all things considered, I don't imagine at her age she has much on offer. I imagine if MVP has offered Ebony another fight, it's likely a dangerous one that she doesn't want to take, and that's why she hasn't boxed with them. Boxed on any of their shows. She was willing to accept a fight at Boxer, though. She must like her chances against Francesca. She figures experience and power would be on her side. But if they make it, I've got Francesca. I've got Francesca winning a points decision. Men's lightweight and super featherweight news. Andy Cruz has made the decision to leave Matchroom, and he's targeting the super featherweight division. He's going to be moving down after all. Andy Cruz is leaving Matchroom and abandoning an unusually favorable lightweight position to test his body at 130. His team selected junior lightweight despite Cruz rehydrating to 149 pounds for his recent win over Abraham Montoya. Dropping another 5 pounds raises concerns about how much strength will he surrender before stepping into the ring. It was conceivable that this would happen, and Matchroom's Frank Smith had this to say about it.
His contract, has come to an end. We're looking at it right now, and we shall see. We shall see. It's about aligning on a path and a vision of what makes sense. Let's see what plays out.
It's just a matter of strategy. Yes, we look at the scale, but we look at what's best for us with my trainer and team. We assess that 130 is best for me, Cruz told Inside the Ring. Calling 130 his best division is difficult to reconcile with his history. Cruz won Olympic gold at the 138.9-pound limit in Tokyo, where amateur tournament competition required him to remain close to that weight. Now older and more physically developed, he intends to cut almost 9 pounds below his Olympic limit. The timing makes the experiment harder to understand. Raymond Murataya is moving to 140, leaving Cruz in a strong position to compete for the vacant title after his recent return to number 3 in the IBF's rankings.
What are they thinking?
Remaining at lightweight would also provide important fights against Abdullah Mason, William Zepeda, Floyd Schofield, and Heidier Herrera. Cruz would not need another weight cut or a prolonged climb through a new set of rankings. Greater earning potential may explain the decision. Emmanuel Navarrete and Oshaki Foster provide recognizable targets at super feather, while Raymond Ford and Anthony Kakache offer further possibilities. Those opportunities are not guaranteed, and leaving lightweight sacrifices an excellent position for what is an experiment. His victory over Montoya completed the promotional agreement that began with his professional debut. Matchroom guided Cruz through the early portion of his career and matched him against Murataya in only his 8th ring appearance. Following this last fight I just had, I'm now a free agent. I'm allowing my team to do the work to guide me through the next steps in my career. Finding a company capable of delivering important fights at 130 will shape his next promotional decision. Another lengthy development period holds little appeal. It's about looking for those great fights, and the fans want to see me in those great fights.
Despite the official result against Murataya, Cruz remains convinced that he did enough to win. He accepts that taking greater risks and applying more pressure might have produced a different decision.
And we might have been having a very different conversation if Andy Cruz were sitting here today as the reigning, defending IBF champion. This was supposed to have been a big acquisition for Matchroom when they signed him. All of his amateur experience, winning the gold, and of course, his run-ins with Keyshawn Davis, who at that time, when they signed him, Top Rank was just starting to ramp up promotion for Keyshawn.
Thus, Andy Cruz seemed a useful fighter to keep in your back pocket.
If I were afforded the opportunity to go back in time, I would make a few adjustments. I would take a few more risks and be more aggressive. I feel like I did enough in that fight to get the win, definitely. Treating 130 as a test gives Cruz the freedom to return to lightweight if the cut weakens him. By then, his current opportunity to fight for the vacant belt may have disappeared. I'm back. Showtime. It's time for the diamond to shine.
So what's the logic here? What's the rationale? And it's what I told you before. Andy Cruz isn't actually all that big for lightweight, to where going up to 140 down the line may not even be an option. So, to get the most out of his career, instead of moving up, eventually, you move down. You move down here and now, down to 130.
Have a couple of fights down there, maybe win an alphabet title, then return to the lightweight division. Because the situation I see for Andy Cruz, who really isn't that big a guy, and he's no spring chicken, going up to 140, he would be very small up there. I don't know that he's even going to do that, but if he tries it, that would likely be his ceiling. He can't go any higher than that.
Well, isn't it risky, cutting all that weight to get down to 130?
It could be, but just imagine that he stayed at 135 and fought for the IBF title. There would be weight restrictions there. Remember, the IBF has a rehydration cap. They don't let their champions just blow up in weight for a fight.
Thus, for subjecting yourself to that, why not try your luck at 130, where maybe you'll have a little bit more power, land with more authority, since the fighters there are smaller?
And if worst comes to worst and you feel it and you don't like it, you move back up. So things didn't pan out between Andy Cruz and Matchroom, I was always skeptical about how far this fighter would be able to go, if for no other reason than his predecessor, two-time Olympic gold medalist Guillermo Rigondeaux, who was dominant while he was fighting, but he was never a big marquee attraction. He was never a big draw.
A longtime member of the Who Needs Ya Club.
It often happens that way for Cuban fighters in this part of the world, as there is not a large enough Cuban contingent in the United States to give them the built-in backing that a Mexican fighter has, or a Puerto Rican fighter.
A black fighter.
There aren't that many Cubans in the United States, and the ones that are, how many of them are boxing fans? So for a Cuban fighter, it can be difficult. It can be difficult to promote them.
That's where my skepticism came from, and the fact that not every great amateur makes for a great professional.
Key examples, Mathieu Bauderlique of France, I believe it is. As an amateur, he won the silver, but as a professional, he's accomplished absolutely nothing. Tony Yoka, he won the gold in the heavyweight division as an amateur, but as a pro, he's a punching bag.
There have been other examples like Audley Harrison and David Price that not every great amateur makes for a great pro, and I felt like something similar might apply to Andy,
who's now moving down to super featherweight, and he's a free agent. If it's his goal to get the champions in the ring, 3 of the 4 titles at this weight are over there at Top Rank, so I would say that as a super featherweight, Top Rank would probably be the best destination for Andy, because Emmanuel Navarrete's got 2 of them, and Oshaki Foster has another.
What about Zuffa?
In the short term, that might seem like a good idea, but in the long term, Zuffa doesn't even have a super featherweight division for Andy to campaign in. If he went over there as a lightweight, who would he fight? Rayo?
It's a decent fight on paper, though not enough to go over there and make a long-term commitment.
I would say that now that he's achieved free agency, the very best place for him to go would have to be Top Rank, to get himself in line to fight for a belt, maybe Anthony Cacace's, then target the winner of Navarrete versus Foster in the coming calendar year. That's the best way to play it.
Upstairs at welterweight, it's in the grasp of my hands. Teofimo Lopez is ready to turn things around in Rolly Romero title fight. With his upcoming welterweight title opportunity just around the corner, Teofimo Lopez talks to the media about his fight against Rolly, while also touching on the recent drama stirred up with his father. Check out some of what Teofimo had to say.
Teofimo on Rolly saying he plans to walk him down? It's gonna be an exciting fight. He wants it just as bad as I do. He's defending his world title. He had a huge upset that he made on Ryan Garcia in Times Square. So yeah, whatever he plans on doing, we're ready for anything and everything. This is what we do. On what's changed from his last fight to this one, I think the preparation and the mental stability of the strength that I needed from all that. So I went back to the drawing board and really just worked on my technique. Most importantly,
the main thing that's changed is the opponent. Because I don't think a whole lot about Teofimo as a fighter has changed from the beginning of this year till now. The most relevant change is who he's fighting. Rolly Romero is not Shakur Stevenson. He doesn't compete on that level.
On whether or not he expects his power to show at 147, I believe that it's that time. I'm at the weight that I should have been a year ago, and now it's either I put up or I shut up. On what he's done differently in camp this time, we did track work a lot this time around. Usually when we do track, it helps my reflexes. It helps a lot of different things. So I think that was the main thing. We didn't do that enough in the Shakur fight. And then the preparation, the mental comeback. It's really like a great reboot and a restart of everything. So it's like the spirit of a phoenix. We're just rising from our ashes. When I was at 140, I didn't really have any more ventures or goals that I really wanted to accomplish. I feel like after the win over Josh Taylor, that was like a stamp for me. So now at 147, I have this vision that's stuck on me, and I'm so focused on it that I know I can make it happen. I know it's in the grasp of my hands, and it starts this weekend. But for this is just an apology to myself for not trusting myself enough, not going with my gut. Lopez Sr., who's never at a loss for words, said, "At the end of the day, man, that was the best thing that could have happened to us. That loss is going to get us ready to take over everything in the game of boxing. My son is going to show up on August 22nd Everything with him is mental. He's in the right place right now, and we're here to take over. He's going to be undisputed in less than 2 years. I'm saying it now.
Lopez Jr. said, I just wanted to show the authenticity that it is. It's a struggle to get here, and I just wanted them to see how it really is, and I decided to do that on the Mr. Versace podcast with my father. My father wanted to talk about it later, but everybody needs to see that now. See what it really is and what it takes. I'm always going to ride with him. He's going to ride with me, and we're going to have those moments.
So, I like Tio's chances in this fight, and so does Hall of Fame inductee, former two-weight world champion, Timothy Bradley.
The more and more I keep looking at this damn fight with Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez, this shit ain't gonna be close.
That.
Fuck yeah. This ain't even gonna be close. This is a damn mismatch.
That.
Fuck yeah. Man, everybody riding on Rolly Romero because he beat Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia ain't got the skills that Teofimo Lopez got. Teofimo Lopez, shit, he maybe got knocked down one time in his damn career. I think it might have been against damn Cambosos. Yeah, one time in his career. This dude got skills. He can fight.
That.
Fuck yeah. I'm gonna keep it a buck. He can fight. Natural instincts, right? Fast twitch muscles, speed, power, counter-punching ability. He about to smoke Rolly Romero, man, for real. Damn, I don't know. Look, y'all banking on a miracle for Rolly. Seriously, he got a puncher's chance. That's it.
That.
Because Teofimo Lopez going up to 147 pounds from 140. It's a different beast. Yeah, he gonna feel that punching power, but it's all that shit's gonna do is open up his damn eyes even more. But Rolly gonna give him so much opportunities to land shit on him. Tio gonna be able to control him with the jab. Tio gonna be able to bag his ass up in spots. He gonna be able to counterpunch. Man, y'all better get ready for that right hand of Teofimo Lopez is gonna smoke this hell out of damn Rolly Romero, the side of his damn left side of his damn head.
That.
So the most that Timothy Bradley is giving the defending champion in this fight is a puncher's chance. That might be the one thing that he has on Tio is power. I will say that even though I also think Tio is the better fighter of the two, the better boxer, Rolly's got the better corner. Ismael Salas is by and large a better trainer than Teofimo Lopez Sr. and anyone in Tio's corner ahead of this weekend's fight.
Ishmael is a factor.
To some degree, though ultimately, it's not Ismael fighting the fight for Rolly. It's Rolly, and Rolly's limitations as a boxer, I think, are going to show up again.
This is a guy who was knocked out by Javante at 135, knocked out by Cruz at 140. I don't think it's at all far-fetched to say that Tio can beat him at 147. Now, 147 may be a better weight for Rolly than those divisions were, so he may be a little bit more durable this weekend than he was in previous fights.
Maybe he goes the distance. Maybe it goes to a decision, but when it does, I believe that Tio will be the one with his hand raised. That will be enough to get him back on the Ring IQ pound-for-pound list, somewhere in the mid-tier.
Adding to Teofimo Lopez's collection of championship scalps, Richard Comey and Vasyl Lomachenko at 135, Josh Taylor at 140, and now Rolly Romero at 147.
To become a 3-division champion, that'll be enough to get him back on the list.